What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, normally you guys would see a new episode of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, but I am going to switch it up for today's video because I'm going to be doing an updated Crystal Beast deck profile for you guys today. It's been a while. It's been a while since I have excuse me. It's been quite some time since I did an update on this deck. I don't know if I did or not. I could be wrong, but I don't think I ever did. But what's cool about this version is that this deck actually utilizes a very interesting card. But you guys are wondering, what is that card? It is known as Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder, but I'll explain once we get into into the deck profile. And once again, guys, my throat is not feeling well, so I have to go into my bag and get a cough drop. Shoutouts to Ricola, not sponsored. Not sponsored by Ricola. There we go. This is I believe the flavor is, what was it? Honey lemon with something. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway, let's get straight. Actually, before we get into the deck profile, if you guys enjoy the video and you guys want to see more deck profiles in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And guys, we are 47 subs away from 200 on this channel. And as I have said in previous videos, if this channel gets to 200 subs, I will open up this Korean Strike of Neos box in its entirety on the channel, on the hopes to pull this guy right here, the Forbidden Yu-Gi-Oh card, as people like to call him. But if the channel gets to 1,000 subs, I will open up my first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel, on the hopes to potentially pull a collector's rare. Will it happen? Who knows? Who knows? But let's get straight into the video. So again, guys, if you guys want to see these boxes get open, subscribe, you guys. But let's get straight into it. Kicking these off, we actually have the Neos Fusion package. So we've got the one Elemental Hero Neos and the 2 Rainbow Dragon. This is basically the bread and butter of this whole deck. So if you guys don't know, Neos Fusion to fuse Neos plus Rainbow Dragon, and you get Rainbow Neos. in which its stats are literally practically on the same level as the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is saying a lot. And then Rainbow Dragon is actually in here for 2 things. One is obviously to count as a Cyber Dragon, because if you have all 7 crystals on your board or in your graveyard, you can just special summon. You can just special summon a 4,000 body of 4K beat stick, and you're good to go. But what you can do is if it were to be destroyed, you can activate Ultimate Crystal Magic, special summon Rainbow Over Dragon, and then go into the Ultimate Crystal Rainbow Dragon Overdrive, and you're basically set, which is absolutely insane. Then of course we have the 1 Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon. I know that a lot of people prefer to play this at like 2 or 3. The way I see it, it's better off as a one of, only because of the fact that only because of the fact that if you open with with more than one copy in your in your hand, excuse me, you essentially brick. You brick really, really bad, and that's something you don't want to do. You don't want to brick. So that's why I decided to put this at 1. Then of course we got Hamon, Lord of Striking Thunder, which this card is actually kind of funny because if you have and it's funny because of the fact that the Crystal Beasts excuse me, because that the Crystal Beasts get sent into the back row as continuous spells, you can actually tribute them off and summon Hamon right off the bat, which is hilarious. And if you pair this off with Cerulean Skyfire, which I'm actually running only 1 copy of, you essentially have a very powerful combo right here because with Hamon's effect with Hamon's effect, it reads if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the grave, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. And while this card is in face-up defense, monsters your opponent controls cannot target monsters for attacks except this one. So basically, you're gonna have yourself an impenetrable wall because of the fact that you activated the effect of Cerulean Skyfire in response to one of your opponent's card's activations, which is pretty nuts. And then of course we got the crystal. So we have basically, we literally have the typical lineup. We got 3 sapphire, 2 amber, 2 topaz, 2 cobalt, 2 amethyst, 2 emerald, and 1 ruby. Sapphire basically lets you take a crystal from your hand, your deck, or your graveyard, and place it face up into your back row as a continuous spell upon Sapphire being summoned. Amber can basically just redirect its attack to himself, which is pretty nice. Topaz will give himself an additional 400 attack during the damage step, so it ensures that you're able to attack over your opponent no matter how much attack it gains, how much attack it gets. Cobalt can just compulse any Crystal Beast card you have on board on top of the deck, so it basically gives you access to reuse the effect of a card like say Crystal Boon or Crystal Brilliance, and you're able to just go from there, which is pretty nice. Amethyst can attack directly, but the damage gets cut in half, which is a bit unfortunate. Let's see here. Emerald has a very interesting effect that says that once per turn you can target a monster you control that attack this turn and change that target to defense position. So if let's say for example, Amber Mammoth attacked. You can activate Emerald's effect, switch Amber into I can't speak, into defense position, and you essentially just have a wall full of monsters, which is pretty nice. And then Ruby can let you take crystals from your back row and summon them onto the front lines upon Ruby being special summoned, which is pretty nuts. So, but what's cool about this is that there aren't a whole lot of Xyz monsters in this deck. There are mostly links, and the Link monsters that I have in this deck are absolutely wild. And I'll show you guys what the extra deck looks like once we get to that point. But moving on into the spells, we got obviously the 3 Crystal Bond. This card is just basically your search. Basically, you get to add a Crystal Beast from your deck to your hand, and then you can take a crystal with a different name from your deck, put it into the back row, which for the most part is going to be Sapphire to the hand, Ruby to the back row, normal summon Sapphire, Topaz goes into the back row, and you're pretty much good to go from there, which is pretty cool. We got the Neos fusion, obviously, to go into the Rainbow Neos. Then, of course, we got the Harpy's Feather Duster, which practically almost every single deck is running Harpy's Feather Duster, which is absolutely insane. We got the 3 Rainbow Bridge as your Spell and Trap Rhoda. Sorry guys, my throat has been acting up the last week. I don't know why. Maybe I've got COVID again. Who knows? Anyway, we got the 3 Rainbow Bridge, which is basically your Spell and Trap Rhoda, which lets you search out for any crystal spell or trap they may have at your disposal, which is really cool. We got the Cerulean Skyfire as sort of a disruption of sorts. So its effect reads. So its effect reads as follows: to special summon Hamon using its own procedure, you can also use face down spells you control. Once per turn, while you control an attack position Hamon, you can negate any spell or trap effects activated by your opponent, then change Hamon to defense position. If a face-up Uriah, Hamon, or Raviel, you control leaves the field, you take no damage this turn. So this is pretty cool because of the fact that I have a second Hamon in the side. You won't be taking any damage at all, which is pretty nice if they were to get destroyed and sent to the graveyard, which is pretty cool. Then then we have 2 copies of Golden Rule, which I believe this will be in the brand new Battles of Legend Monstrous Revenge set that will be coming out this June. So if you guys have never seen this card, I actually added this into my Advanced Crystal Beast deck, which if you guys haven't seen that deck profile, that updated deck profile, check it out, guys. But Golden Rule is an equipped spell that reads as follows: place 2 Crystal Beast monsters from your deck face up in your spell trap zone as continuous spells. That special summon a Crystal Beast from your hand or grave with a different name from those cards. And if you do equip it with this card, when this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. It can only activate 1 Golden Rule per turn. So this is a great way. This is a great way to take cards like, say, Topaz and Amber, put them into your back row, and then use Golden Rule as sort of like a Monster Reborn to resummon Sapphire, and you can place Cobalt into your back row, and that would only give you 3 more crystals that you would need to put either on the front lines or in the back row to special summon Rainbow Dragon, and then you can go into your Neos fusion, special summon to go into your Rainbow Neos, and then use your crystals to go into any of your Link plays, or go into Hamon with Cerulean Skyfire, and that's essentially your board, which is absolutely nuts. So you have quite a bit of disruption just off of a combo like that alone, which is pretty nice. And then to round up the spells, we have we've got 2 copies of Ancient City Rainbow Ruins to not only give you a little bit of negation of sorts, because it does have some form of negation, but it also gives you a chance to draw a card if you have 4 crystals in your back row, which is pretty nice. So moving on into the traps. Moving on into the traps for the 1-ofs, I've got the 1 ultimate crystal magic, which is basically polymerization to go into the Rainbow Overdragon, which is really nice. Then of course, and then we have the 1 crystal brilliance. I was originally running 2, but I realized that it's better to probably run it at 1. Actually, you know what? No, I realize now that's not entirely true. Give me a second, guys. You know what? Yeah, you know what? I realize now. Yeah, it's better to run it at 1, just because of the fact that just because of the fact that even though Crystal Brilliance, you know, is better off as a 2, which I know some people might think it is. The thing is that this card plus Cerulean Skyfire with Hamon and your crystals on board, you got some powerful monsters, because Crystal Brilliance effect reads that all of your crystal beasts gains attack equal to their own original defense. So in Sapphire's case, Sapphire would become 3,000. Amber, I believe, would become 3,300. Topaz would become 2,600. And if it were to gain the 400 attack during the damage step, it would become 3,000. Cobalt, I believe, would become 2,200. Amethyst would become 1,600. Emerald would become 2,600, and then Ruby would become a measly 600, but it's nothing too crazy. So yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But it also has another effect, which reads if a Crystal Beads card is placed in your back row, even during the damage step, you can send this face up card to your grave, spell summon a Crystal Beast from your hand or grave, and any damage you take this turn is cut in half. So not only is this a way to give your crystals a fuck ton of attack, but it also acts as a cyber ref system when you decide to tribute this card, which you're not really going to anyway. So it's pretty crazy. Then of course we got the 2 Omega Judgment. This card is absolutely broken in this deck. Target 1 face-up monster card in your spell and trap zone, and 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. It's basically a 2 for 2, which is not the best, because obviously you're using up the Omega Judgment. But what's cool about this is that it's a great way to easily break your opponent's board, which is pretty nice. And then to round up the entire main deck, we have 2 copies of Crystal Boon, which lets you take 2 crystals from your back row and put them onto the front lines, and you gain life points equal to their combined original attack. So if you targeted, let's say, Sapphire and Topaz, that would be what? Let's see, 16. Let's see here, 18. that would be what, 3,400 life points. Yeah, 34. Or Sapphire plus Amber. That would be 3,500. The possibilities are pretty much out there, but it also has another effect that says if a Crystal Beast card is placed in your back row, even during the damage step, while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a Crystal Beast monster, either add it to your hand or special summon it. Otherwise, send that card to the grave. So if it ends up being, excuse me, if it ends up being a card like say, I'll say Neos. If it ends up being Neos, you can activate Monster Reborn that I have in the side deck, resummon Neos, and if you have Neos Fusion in your hand, Rainbow Neos in an instant, which is pretty nice. But it also, I think it has a, yeah. All right, so that was all of the effects. And then to round up the entire main deck, we've got 2 copies of Crystal Miracle, which is basically a counter trap. This is basically a Solemn Judgment for the whole deck, which reads, when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, destroy 1 Crystal Beast card you control, negate the activation, and destroy that card. If a Crystal Beast card is placed in your back row while this card is in your grave, even during the damage step, you can banish the card, place a Crystal Beast monster from your hand, deck, or grave face up in your back row as a continuous spell. This is a great way to ensure that your Ancient City Rainbow Ruins becomes live, because if you only have 3 crystals in your back row and you used up Crystal Miracle, you can banish it. Target one of your crystals, put it into your back row, and this gives you access to go to activate your field spell, where you would be able to draw a card every turn. So this card plus the draw phase, that's essentially a pot of greed, which is a pretty good combo right there. But that's pretty much it for the main deck. The extra deck is pretty loaded. So we got obviously the 3 fusions. We've got the Rainbow Overdragon, the Ultimate Crystal Rainbow Dragon Overdrive, and the Rainbow Neos. Not much to say about these 3. They're just too broken. They're all They all have at least 4,000 attack, which is pretty insane. We got the single copy of Zeus, which is basically what you need what you need in combination with the 2 copies of Time Thief Redoer that I've got in the extra deck. Time Thief Redoer with a bunch of materials. You can make Zeus right off the bat. And then for the links, we got Axis Code Talker, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, Decode Talker, Unchained Abomination, Nightmare Griffin, Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Cerberus, and IP Masquerena. Every single one of these, except for the Unchained Abomination, I've already talked about. But if you guys have never heard of Unchained Abomination, this card is a nasty card. So its effect reads: if a card on the field is destroyed by a card effect except by this card, except during the damage step, you can target a card on the field, destroy it. When another monster is destroyed by battle, you can target a card on the field, destroy it. During the end phase, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it. You're targeting 3 cards that your opponent has and destroying them, sending them to the graveyard. This means that you have a card that can break boards in an instant. Axis Code Talker isn't the only one. Underworld Goddess isn't the only one. Unchained Abomination is one of them. So if you have let's say you go into into the IP Masquerena. Let's say you go into it and into, I'll say a Nightmare Phoenix, and you used up its effect. You can literally, during their turn, once they've activated any card effect, no matter what it is, you go IP's effect, send it and the Phoenix to your graveyard. Boom, Unchained Abomination. And if one of your crystals were to, and if let's say your field spell were to be destroyed and got sent to your graveyard, let's say that Unchained Abomination pops a card. If one of your monsters gets destroyed in battle in the same turn, boom, target one card on the field, boom, gone. During the end phase, boom, another card's gone. Plain simple. Not much else to say about that. That's pretty much it for the extra deck. The side deck is my own my own preference. but this is but I have this side deck to go up against, I think, just pretty much any deck that tries to out the side deck. So for my side deck, I've got Haman, I've got the second Haman, 2 Ash Blossom, 2 Ghost Bell, 2 Ghost Ogre, a Crystal Abundance, which this is basically a board wipe where you can take 4 crystals from your back row, send them to your graveyard, and then take all the cards that are on the board, send them to the graveyard, and for each card that was sent to your opponent's graveyard, you get to summon a crystal. So in this case, the crystals that you would be summoning would be Sapphire, Amber, Topaz, Cobalt, and either, let's see, Sapphire, Amber, Topaz, Cobalt, and either Amethyst or Emerald. But if you choose Amber, Sapphire's effect would trigger, and you get to take Emerald, put it into the back row, and then if you have another Sapphire in hand, you can normal summon said Sapphire, put Ruby into your back row, send the 2 Sapphires to your graveyard, go into a I'll say an IP Masquerena, and you can just go off from there, which is pretty nice. But that's pretty much it for the abundance. Then of course I got a single copy of Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. This card is pretty good, but it does have its drawback. So the effect of this card reads: during your main phase, you can normal summon 1 Crystal Beast monster in addition to your normal summoner set, which you can only gain that effect once per turn. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. During your main phase, you can destroy 1 Crystal Beast card you control or in your hand, and if you do, add a crystal spell trap from your deck to your hand. If a Crystal Beast is placed in your back row, even during the damage tab, target a card your opponent controls, return both that card and this card to the hand. The biggest drawback the biggest drawback of this card is that if your opponent outs this card, there's nothing you can do. So what I'm gonna do, instead of using this card, do I you know what? You know what? I was gonna replace it with a second Crystal Brilliance, but I figured, you know what? No, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm actually just going to leave it. But anyway, Rainbow Bridge basically just ensures that you get to go into your extra deck a lot quicker, which is pretty cool. Not much else to say about that. And then to round up the spells, we got a single copy of Call By, 1 Monster Reborn, and for the traps, we got 2 Zing Zing Hu and 2 Solemn Warning. So guys, that's pretty much it for this deck profile. I will be posting the deck list on my Instagram about an hour or two after this video gets put up. So make sure you guys follow me on my Instagram. My ad will be in the description below. And that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more deck profiles in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.